significance, identity, approval. We all long for these things. Unfortunately, we often chase after the wrong things to find what we're looking for. The truth is, we don't need a fast car, a big house, and a Stanley tumbler to sip on next to our pool to know that our lives have significance and meaning. That kind of knowledge comes from knowing that we are created in the image of God and that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, as the psalmist says in Psalm 139.
From Living Word Church, you're listening to the Living the Word podcast, encouraging you to walk steadfastly in your Christian faith.
Welcome back to the Living the Word podcast. We hope you enjoyed the last two episodes where we are looking at biblical worldview implications through popular news stories that we're all looking at on social media or through the news outlets that we pay attention to. So we're going to look at another story that caught my eye and has to do with Stanley tumblers. Do you own a Stanley tumbler? It would seem that Stanley is taking over the world right now. If you haven't noticed, everywhere you go in public, you will likely run into someone who has a Stanley tumbler. The company has multiplied amazingly by 10 from $73 million in revenue in 2019 to $750 million in 2023. And as far as I can tell, this is the same Stanley company that has made work tools and construction-grade coffee tumblers for 110 years. I actually remember my grandfather having one of the old-school green coffee thermoses from the 1980s. Times have changed, though. Now, Stanley is not just providing highly effective coffee thermoses to working men. They are now providing fashionable accessories for teenage girls. There is one teenage girl from Alabama who has taken this new trend to another level. In a dailymail.com story, we learn about Amelia Awad, who owns 67 tumblers, Stanley tumblers. She says her parents have spent over $3,000 on her collection. Amelia calls the collection an obsession. As a result of her posting about her journey of collecting Stanley tumblers, Amelia has amassed over 137,000 followers on her social media account. This Stanley Cup guru says that she uses every single one of her tumblers. She views them as accessories and tries to match the color of the tumblers with the color of the outfits that she wears each day. Amelia says some things about her obsession with Stanley tumblers that has some biblical worldview implications for us to consider here. In speaking about acquiring limited edition Stanley Cup models, Amelia says, quote, "If they are rare, I would want to use them more because I am special for having them." She says she is special for having them. This fad with Stanley Cups is not different than many other products that have flooded the markets and exploded through social media influence. This is just the latest example. What is it about our human condition that makes us long to be seen with things that elevate our status? In this statement by Amelia, what I believe we have is a 16-year-old young woman looking for significance and trying to find it in the approval that comes from being seen with a, quote, accessory that other people would be envious of. For some people, it's not a Stanley tumbler they use to find significance from owning. It could be a sports car or wearing a designer clothing brand. It could be living in a certain neighborhood and posting pics on social media while relaxing in the backyard with a luxurious in-ground pool in the background. For others, it may be the people they hang out with. For others, it could be the famous or influential names and numbers that are stored in their phone. Significance, identity, approval. We all long for these things. Unfortunately, we often chase after the wrong things to find what we're looking for. The truth is, we don't need a fast car, a big house, and a Stanley tumbler to sip on next to our pool to know that our lives have significance and meaning. That kind of knowledge comes from knowing that we are created in the image of God and that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, as the psalmist says in Psalm 139. Chasing significance through acquiring culturally popular possessions will always end up empty. Why is that? Because next month, there may be another construction company who produces a new tumbler that goes viral, and then you'll be stuck trying to sell your Stanley cups on eBay for half the price. So let's all be reminded of what we already know. Nothing on this earth, no temporary thing, or no one in our life can give us ultimate significance that will satisfy. Only the God of creation can offer that. And only a relationship with Jesus Christ can do that. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Living the Word podcast. I look forward to being back next time as we look at another news story with biblical worldview implications for us to consider. See you next time.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you would like to submit a potential question, a topic, or an idea for a future episode, or learn more about the Living the Word podcast, you can visit us at livingwordhoma.com. We would like to say thanks to all of you who subscribed, shared episodes, and left reviews. Living the Word podcast is a production of Living Word Church in Houma, Louisiana, under the leadership of Pastor Ben Buffkin. Our prayer is that you will remain faithful to living the Word.